What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Before we get this video started, I want to thank all the new subscribers, and I want to let you know that we are a bilingual and international channel, and we will be posting most of our content in English, but we will be posting one video in Spanish and one tool review per month. I want to let you know, guys, that last week I made a huge mistake fixing my 04 Nissan Titan. And I don't know if most of you noticed my mistake or not, but I will be fixing that mistake on this video, and I will explain why. When I tried to fix this oil leak from the oil cooler, everything was going perfect. But when I got to reinstall this oil cooler, at first when I started the truck, it doesn't leak any oil. But when I took it down the road, just a couple of miles from my home, it was leaking oil like crazy. And I wasn't sure about why was causing this oil leak, because it was worse than before. These are scenes from the last video, and now I'm gonna show you where I went wrong. I started to clean up the oil cooler from all that gunk and grease that it has for so many years. But when I got to replace the O-ring, this one right here that I'm taking off, I didn't pay attention from where I took that O-ring off, because I was in a rush to get this video to you guys on time. I know that it's not an excuse, but I want to let you know that I screw up, and this mistake could have cost me a lot of money, because I could have damaged the engine if it ran out of oil. Here I am comparing the two O-rings and making sure they are the same size, and they were. But my mistake was right here. I was trying to put the O-ring outside of the lip where the O-ring should go. I got this O-ring from Rock Auto because I looked for this O-ring before and no one has it on stock. So I was a bit worried that I couldn't find another O-ring in time to be able to use my truck this week. So as you can see here, the middle part, this one that I'm touching, it's where the O-ring should be placed. Before I figured out what was wrong with the truck, I took the oil cooler off a couple of times and ended up with the same results. It was until the third time that I realized that I placed the O-ring on the outside, not in the inside. And because of that, I screwed up the O-ring, because with the heat and everything, it got stretched and it wouldn't fit anymore on the groove. So I had to find a new O-ring to fix this problem. And I came across with a solution. The second time that I took off the oil cooler, I took off the oil filter with the oil filter pliers that I got on Harbor Freight. And since you don't have too much space to remove the oil filter, it got a little damage on the outside, and I didn't trust that oil filter anymore. So I remember I had another oil filter on a storage bin that I have some parts for my vehicles. So I took off the old O-ring from the Mobil 1 filter and compare it with the O-ring on the oil cooler, and they were pretty much the same. But when I took off the O-ring from the K&N filter, it was a perfect match. So I put the K&N O-ring on the oil cooler and the Mobil 1 O-ring into the K&N filter, hoping and praying that it will seal up both ends. Check out how much this old O-ring got stretched. It fits one on top of the other, so it's totally damaged. But as you can see here, they are the same size and the same thickness. So I decided to give this a try and test the truck for a couple of days to see if this quick fix solves the problem. When I placed the Mobil 1 O-ring on the K&M filter, it was a little bit thinner, but it managed to seal up and hold the oil in place. So we clean up everything once again and reinstall the parts to see if we fix this problem. Before I reinstall this O-ring in place, I apply a thin layer of high temperature silicone to hold up the O-ring in place. That way we make sure it doesn't move around when reinstalling the oil cooler back on the truck. So now we put back this O-ring back in place and we let the gasket maker to seal up. As you can see here, there is a tiny mark on the outer part of where the oil cooler should sit, and I'm pretty sure that the gasket was sitting right on the edge, and when I torqued that down, it went over the edge and started leaking oil. So now that we have everything back in place, let's reinstall this oil cooler for the last time. We make sure that we have the oil cooler in the right position, and we install the shaft by hand to make sure it doesn't get cross-threaded. And now we proceed to torque this down. Now it's time to reinstall the oil filter. And we are all set. Let's check out if we have some more oil leaks. I let the vehicle running for an hour to make sure it gets into temperature and that the O-rings are holding the oil in place. And it did. Later that day, I took the truck for a drive and no more leaks. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.